wanted to be like clever because everybody had told that like yeah, we started a podcast. It's called On That Note. They're like, oh my God, that name's so good. I'm like, yeah, well, it's taken.
We are so excited to bring this podcast to you and interview some of the most influential music industry professionals that we have met during our time at the University of South Carolina. In this podcast, we will inspire students and others interested in the industry to pursue their career dreams.
I'm May Dandridge.
I'm Donovan Brewster.
I'm Erin Furton.
And we are your hosts. We look forward to bringing this project to life and seeing you take advantage of the opportunities to make connections and further your knowledge on the inner workings of the music industry.
On that note, let's get into it.
So our first guest on this podcast is going to be Mark Squig DiGiacomo. Say hi, Squig.
What's up, everybody? What's up?
So we met Squiggy through our music industry studies minor through the University of South Carolina Music School. We all got to spend some time with Squiggy in, oh my gosh, where was it?
Rockville Music Festival.
No, but what city?
Daytona.
Daytona. Okay. We all got to meet Squiggy in Daytona and kind of get to see him work his magic in real time. And we are honored to have him on our show today.
First, we wanted to start out and kind of ask you about what was your upbringing or your influence in music? What did music mean to you growing up? How did you get involved in that?
Well, I grew up as a military brat, so I moved around all the time. 4 different high schools in 5 different states. You know, kind of stuff.
I tried to look for the yearbook photos, but I couldn't find them.
No, we've definitely hid those very well, thank God. You know, but truthfully, like I wasn't in a lot of yearbook photos. You know, I just I didn't have a lot of friends. You know, because it was like, why make friends? I'm just going to leave them in a year. You know, so. Me and MTV became really, really good friends. You know, MTV is pretty much what raised me musically, and you know, because I didn't have a lot of friends. You know, I tend to figure out ways to amuse yourself. You know, so making music and was perfect for me. You know, it took the place of my best friend, my worst friend, my brother, my sister. I don't have any brothers and sisters, so I'm a single child. So, yeah, music was all that for me.
Well, so we also have heard from Professor Polly's little Twitch chat that he had with you that you first started out DJing.
I did.
How did you first get into that? And do you remember like getting your first set of turntables? Like,
oh yeah, man. We moved to California, and at the time there was this electro music out. There was a song called Egypt, and it was like this, like kind of a planet rock, kind of electro boogie. And so that was the first cassette tape I'd ever bought. And then, you know, once again, I was raised by MTV. So, you know, I was equal mix, Yo MTV Raps and Headbangers Ball. You know, like those were the two. I mean, literally those constructed me, you know. Ricky Rackman and Ed Lover and Dr. Dre are like the voices in my head. So like when I first wanted to become a DJ, I was in New Jersey, and I found out very quickly I couldn't rap, and I couldn't play guitar, couldn't play drums, couldn't play anything.
Wait, do you still have your attempts at rap, or
what's that?
Do you still have any of your attempts at rap? Did you ever?
Oh God, no. Those have been very well destroyed.
Those are
far gone. And you know, like it was just the way, you know, I grew up in the town that I lived in was, you know, we were just surrounded by hip hop. So DJing was the only thing I could really do. And, you know, I kind of had a little bit of a knack for it. And then, you know, like true creative arrogance, you know, you go from spinning people's records and then you think you can start making the music better than what it is that you're spinning it, right? So you're like, well, I can do better than this shit, you know? And, you know, it led to a pretty cool run. You know, I spent a lot of time in the beginning stages in the hip hop business and the rap business. My first set of turntables I bought in Boston at Daddy's Junkie House of Music. My first set of turntables. Yeah, I remember it all. I play my whole story out in my head. I relive it every day. Those are all important moments for me. You know, which that kind of summed everything up for me. Like I was always half in metal, half in hip hop. And then I think all of our lives changed when like Public Enemy and Anthrax happened, when they did Bring the Noise, and then ultimately the Judgment Night soundtrack is I think what kind of got all of us back into the metal world.
So in your time working as a musician in that musical performance part of your career, were
Mhm.
there particular experience in working with them that helped shape your path moving forward? Like kind of
Oh
help you
yeah,
decide what you wanted to do post that?
yeah. I mean, on the creative side, you realize where all the money is made. You
Mhm.
know, you realize that usually the creative people make the least amount of money. And plus you realize that like being an artist, like the clock's ticking all the time.
Mhm.
The minute you have like a hit song, the clock's ticking before, especially now. I mean, music's so disposable. um, I learned very quickly to get into the business of music. The minute I kind of got on that inside and started looking out, it was very obvious that the business of music is was going to be where the longevity was for sure.
That brings us into your first LinkedIn job, actually, of being an artist manager. So that was post your boy band experience, correct?
2005
That
to 2009.
So, who were you managing at that point? Were there multiple bands or multiple people, or how did you get into that position?
I kind of like everybody else. You cut your teeth on regional bands and local bands, and honestly, like Sarah was a big part of that kind of artist management stuff. I realized that I didn't like it very quickly. I didn't like the artist management stuff. Sarah really flourished on that part of it. We were kind of doing that together. Uh, but yeah, I didn't really like it. It's it's kind of I don't know. It just wasn't my particular skill set. You're in charge of grown men. you know, and people aren't robots. Like people are people. You're dealing with 5 or 6 different opinions. Yeah, it's a talent. It's a talent, and that was probably one of the biggest things I learned. But like I was saying, like the artist management stuff, like that wasn't really for me. That wasn't really a good thing for me. Cool stories. We had some regional bands that ended up getting record deals, and that was fun, but just not for me. You
Was
know,
it like mostly friends of yours that you were managing for,
yeah,
or like how did you get
yeah.
involved in those friends?
We were just friends. Like from like I was in a band from 1997, like a metal band from 1997 into 2010, maybe. Like so that whole time I was uh like a turntablist DJ guy in a metal band. From Jacksonville, we all kind of rode the Limp Bizkit train out of town. Which coincidentally comes full circle. Like the guy that we're doing the festivals with is also from that era. His name's Danny Wimmer. So
He doesn't come in until at least two more questions.
You talked a little bit about music experience
The
and kind of brought the music experience and brought that out. So for our listeners that don't know, can you give a little bit of background on what the music experience is and how the idea for it came about?
Yeah, so the idea came seeing the dehumanization of just retail in general. Brick and mortar stores were going out of business, local music stores were going out of business. Amazon was kind of on the rise, eBay was on the rise, and it was just kind of killing the walk into a music store, pick up an instrument, and feel it and play it, and kind of fall in love with it. Uh, so I kind of put it on my back as an instrument industry self-proclaimed advocate, that this was my problem to solve. And it was a really big problem. Nobody, there was a lot of doubt, right? Because you're talking about trying to rehumanize the internet, which sounds impossible. But because of my relationship with Danny Wimmer, going back, almost 25 years to when we all kind of left Jacksonville, Danny became one of the biggest promoters on the planet, and he empathized with the the plight, of the dying music store. So, we came up with this idea, like, hey, let's just put a bunch of guitars in the middle of a music festival, and hopefully people will pick them up. And uh, yeah, this is our 10th year doing it. Something that wasn't supposed to be done.
So in another interview, you said Danny Wimmer of Danny Wimmer Presents. Without him, none of this even happens. Would you stand by
It's the
that
truth.
today?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that same exact thing. He has kind of, my opinion, right? Everybody's got their own opinion, but like in my opinion, that guy's the most important guy in heavy metal, and hard rock music. It's his signature that makes these festivals happen. Without these festivals, you know, people don't play hard rock on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Pop radio doesn't play, Lamb of God like that. Thank God for guys like Jose Mangan. But if it wasn't for guys like Jose Mangan keeping shit on Sirius XM and guys like Wimmer putting on festivals, like our culture would be dead. These guys are the reason why we're still around.
So, how do you see the music experience evolving in the future, and like what kind of legacy do you kind of hope that it leaves on the people who encounter it?
Um, no, honestly, like the legacy is exactly uh, what I hope it did for you guys, right? You guys come down and get to put some hands on it and kind of touch it and feel it, and get a little bit of exposure to it. And you guys will go on much longer than the music experience will. And if it can inspire people to get into the industry, then that's great. Like it really started out as, honestly, another thing is, like, I just wish parents would stop telling kids that they can't make it in the music business. And the music experience shows that, like, you can.
Like such a reach or some kind of aspirational goal that most people don't make it. I know for me, that was one thing where like my parents were like, okay, I know you want to do that, but what is the practical thing you
What's
can
the
do
backup
instead?
plan?
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
when mom and dad crush
Yeah.
it before even
I know,
10.
right? I call my mom Tree Crusher.
Music
Yeah.
is your major, but what's the minor?
Yeah.
Economics?
Yeah, and a lot of it is because like they just don't know, and nobody's ever told them to shut the fuck up and stop saying that shit and open up your fucking eyes and look at all these other jobs that are in the music industry.
That's
Exactly.
what Squiggy's
Like,
here for.
That's what this whole
I'm so passionate about that, man. I just, in the student experience, we have all these like kids coming, and you ask them, you're like, how many of your parents tell you guys you can't make it in the music industry? And like the kids raise their hands, and just look at the parents and like just fucking absolute disgust, and you're just like, stop telling them that shit.
It's not even like making it in the industry. You can be in the music industry without making it, and it can still be beneficial and like valuable to each person.
People have that notion that making it in the music industry either means being a recording artist or working for a record label, which is so not the case. There's so many other different paths that people can take that we've seen going to music experience and our experience at Rockville, talking to all these different industry professionals that have taken so many different routes but are still involved in that industry some way. So for the music experience, getting brands involved and kind of seeing the potential of what that could be, was that hard, getting people to get
Oh
on
yeah.
board with it?
Oh yeah. Because basically, like when there was no proof of concept, it's like, all right, we're gonna put all these brands under one tent, and they're all gonna get along, right? And they're all gonna get along because they're all fighting for the greater good that's not about them. It's about inspiring kids to pick up instruments. So you're basically telling brands to come in, play nice with everybody, and it's not about them. When you're passionate about something like that, like music industry, I was never going to let it fail. I just believed in the vision so much, and I believed that, like, I just saw myself in every kid that would come to the festival, 12 years old, just wanting to like, be cool or whatever, Um, but I don't know, it's like hanging out with yourself when you're 12. It's awesome.
To those brands, in terms of getting them on board, what would you say was like your main selling point? What really pushed them over and was like, okay, this is something worth investing in or putting our time and money into?
That's such
No, no, dude. It's a great question, and my pitch to them was, I don't expect them to trust me. I haven't done anything other than be a friend to them, right? But like, they have no reason to trust that this was going to be successful. So I self financed it, and I worked for their trust.
Yeah.
You know, but I was able to put my money where my mouth was, and uh, I still do that to this day. If there's a new brand that comes out, that I go to them. Uh, I don't expect them to trust me. I say, come in, and if we are what we say we are, then awesome. If we're not, you can tell me to go myself. I don't, whatever. But nobody's ever told me to go myself. So it's been great.
Uh-oh, Squee needs to be taken down a notch. What do you recommend for people who can't put their money where their mouth is? Like they can't find that funding, but they still have such like a huge idea that they believe in. Are they restricted to just getting lucky when they find someone like you or someone who's willing to invest?
No, no. I mean, I'm only able to do this because of Wimmer. Like when it was self-finance, Wimmer gave me a good deal. Wimmer offered a partnership into doing it. Um, I believe that like it's like the best lesson anybody can teach you in any sort of business class. I don't care if it's music business, golf business, or whatever. Is just like, don't be an asshole ever, right? Don't ever be an asshole, right?
Hear that?
Whoa.
And if you're not an asshole, and you're driven by passion, right? If you're just driven by passion and you know that you're right and you're not going to take anything short of that, you'll surround yourself with other passionate people, and then passionate people tend to have resources. And it's sometimes it's not about money; it's about sweat equity. And if you got 4 or 5 people doing sweat equity, it'll work itself out. Which is kind of what happened with us. You don't find many people that are willing to have an idea that's truly theirs, be so passionate about it, and willing to like argue and fight for it.
It's this podcast. That's what we're passionate about.
This is the
Well,
future.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I think you guys will be just fine.
Yeah. Well, so for in doing so, in that like path to getting the music experience on its feet and everything, was there anything that you might have done differently or you feel that you could have done better?
Man, that's such an interesting question, because I've been asked it a couple of times, and I think I've answered it differently every single time somebody has asked me the question. Um, but I don't know if I do anything different. You know,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't think so. No, no, I wouldn't do anything different.
Besides the whole like do what you want to do and like be passionate about it and make it like your best. Besides
Mhm.
that, like what kind of advice can you offer for people who are looking to create their own music experience or their own musical endeavor?
Um, things that I wish somebody would have told me when I was a kid, which is, luckily I get to do that a lot with student experience. Sarah and I and our team, we get to talk to the 12-year-old versions of ourselves and the 14-year-old versions of ourselves. Um, and I wish I would have understood the scope from a very early age of all of the actual jobs within the industry that were applicable to me. Like that's, because we're taught, like, if you're not in the music video or if you're not the guy on stage, then you're not in the business, right? But the truth is, the business is 10 times bigger than the people on stage. And you know uh, and it does incorporate things like accounting, and like, if you're super smart, if you're super creative. And I wish somebody would have just given me the permission to just stay creative, just stay creative, like, the older I get, I feel like if you stay creative and you come up with ideas, the success in the business and the money will follow. If you start something from the beginning and go, well, if we do this and this and this, then we'll be successful. That never works, right? Because you can plan for A and B and C to happen, but like life is life. It's going to change, right? So you're going to show up and you're going to go, okay, well, like let's do A, and the conditions aren't good for A. So now what are you going to do, right? So you have to be able to pivot and think, and you have to just like stay creative. And I think that's what makes the really successful people, I think, are like, the Steve Jobses of the world. Those guys just stay creative, or they stayed creative. Um, the business will follow. The business always follows creative. Creative shouldn't follow business.
Mhm.
I think what you guys are doing with Mix, like your Professor Probably sent me kind of like the mission statement of it. It's awesome. I think you guys are doing something incredible. I can't wait to come up to in April. It's
It's
gonna be fun.
so interesting to see, even just in a week, going from one
Mhm.
class talking about it to the next, how much all these different groups are working together and it's all starting to like fall into place and the puzzle pieces are starting to fit. And
Yeah.
seeing that, this is something that actually could really benefit a lot of people.
Will benefit.
Yeah,
Will,
we might just start a
will.
legacy.
I know. But
It's
I mean,
gonna put on the resume at the very
yeah,
end.
at first it sounded kind of like far-fetched, all the things we wanted to do, but as people are working on it, it's like, this is gonna work. We're actually gonna have something here.
I come to class and I'm like, y'all actually did the work on it. like, good job, guys. Proud of you.
like, how many of the people in y'all's program identify as creatives?
Well,
I mean,
I would hope all.
I would hope
that's
most.
all, yeah.
But our class,
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've ever had the full class together at one time.
Yeah.
How many is it? Like 10 people, maybe?
No, it's getting to be more now. Because there's the minor and the major now.
Oh, no, I
think
mean
there's
in our music practicum class.
oh, in the practicum class, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it's about 10.
maybe 10.
Mm.
But in total, in the whole program, probably like 30.
I mean,
A good 30.
he even said he was expecting maybe 35 applicants this year, and he had like something around 50, 55.
Yeah,
Had to
it's
sit down and
definitely
interview them.
rapidly
It's
growing.
growing.
All I know is that if I had to apply, I probably would not have gotten accepted. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't
in the
have to
area
apply.
where
We got it.
We might be creatives, but we never said we were good at creating.
I just had a meeting where I told them I had no musical background. I just really liked music, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Good luck." And you know what? It's my last semester, so thank you for the luck. I needed it.
It's worked out.
I'll tell you the reason why I asked about like the creative question is because like it's really magical when a bunch of actual creatives work together, right? Because like there's some people that are creatives, and then there's people that are in the business of creative, right? The people that are actual creatives um, are really fun to watch when they work in teams, because creatives generally aren't afraid to fail. You know what I mean? So like the wild and crazier the idea is, it's like, sure, yeah, let's do that, right? Nobody's going to say that idea is too big or the idea is too small. It's like truly, truly creative people will come up with absolutely amazing and genius like things. So, I think what you guys are doing for Mix, I would assume you guys are all pretty creative people.
I mean,
It's exciting.
I've seen just through the music industry studies program, all these people that I've kind of gone through it with, they're the same people that I'm in class with now. And
Mhm.
we worked on in music entrepreneurship and music and money and all these different classes.
Audio recording technique.
Yes, that one. You work on like a project throughout the semester, and again, like seeing how they started, how they go. There is definitely so many creative people in this program, because what people and what, even not to toot my own horn, but what I think I've come up with is
Mhm.
blown my mind, and I didn't think it was something that I ever thought I could do.
I
So
love it. I think
cool.
it's great.
Yeah.
When you guys talk, I'm assuming you guys will talk to like Justin Press and Ron. Um, when you talk to Ron, so Ron's the only guy that I've actually ever met in my entire life, um, that has actually made an ability to stay creative, right, at the highest levels, and maintain the business of creative
Mhm.
at the highest levels. And he's been able to compartmentalize them so well that they don't actually interact with each other at all, right? That's really hard to do, to where, he runs a business. He has his Ron's World thing, but he's also this really creative person that does creative for the sake of creative. um, that's a really good, when you guys talk to Ron, have him go into like creative versus the business of creative.
Hey,
That's a
I'm a
really
big Ron's World girl fangirl right here.
She secured Ron herself. So
I emailed him. We have him on the show. He
yeah.
he said when we go to Rockville, not if again. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident we're gonna be there.
I know. I'm gonna mark my
Um,
schedule.
But no, he was when we went to Rockville. I remember we got sent like the panel of everybody, and we were supposed to kind of research them. Obviously, we already knew about you because the 2 hour,
The 2 hour mic
3 hour,
chat.
4 hour long mic chat you had with Polly. But he was one of the first people I looked up, and I was really just amazed at how, again, it was just something like so niche, so like no one's gonna be like, hey, there's a Martin guitar in that corner, go paint messy on it. Like no one's gonna say that, and so he did it himself.
He was also, what I really liked about him. So I'll tell you the quick story of how I actually even met Ron. So Sarah and I were at Summer NAMM, uh, and I was walking around, and then Sarah came up to me and said, "Hey, you got to go see this dude's guitars, right?" And I I don't know. I had 1,000 other things I was trying to do at the same time. And I was like, no, go fuck it, whenever, whenever. And Sarah kept hounding me. She's like, dude, you got to go see this guy's guitars. You got to go see this guy's guitars. Then finally, like on the last day, Sarah drags me over there. I go see the guitars, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, big fucking deal, right? They're wrapped guitars, right? Like somebody fucking drew some shit and they wrapped them, so what? And then he was like, and he had this sign behind him that said Ron paints guitars. And I had no idea. I didn't even read the sign behind him. And he was like, no, asshole, I paint them. And I was like, oh, you paint these? He's just like, yeah, big fucking sign behind me. Ever since then we've been like best friends, right? But Ron comes at it from a marketing world. He's a guitar player, obviously. He loves guitar, but his his differentiator was he came from it from a straight up marketing background, from big time agencies dealing with like Pepsi and Mountain Dew and Gillette, and those were all his old clients. So he basically brought that into the music space, and he had no competition. Nobody even saw him coming.
Yeah.
It was
So
great.
what really seems to be a theme is that the relationships that you formed with people along the way, like sometimes completely out of random, are like what really brought your ideas to life, and like the people who inspired you to like keep on going with what you believed in.
Absolutely, man. I made a promise to myself that like I'll only do business with people I like. I could have made a lot more money along the way, and I could have probably been a lot more successful, but like I don't work with people I don't like.
It's all about networking, connections, all of that. But especially in the music industry, is maintaining the connections and the relationship with people. It's not just, hey, nice to meet you for the first time.
Please be on our podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maintaining those connections, I feel like the idea, somebody, how to get your foot in the door, you kind of have to have somebody open the door a crack for you before you do that. And
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
something that I've learned that's really important, even just in this last year in the program.
That I have, but once again, like I only do business with people I like. So, the guy, I, I, I wish everybody, I know everybody's kids' names, you know what I mean? I know their anniversaries and their kids' birthdays, and just because I like these people and I just happen to do business with them. So I think that's a big thing, man. When you like people you do business with, um, it makes the business stronger, because you actually give a about them. you know?
And it's not just making a connection for the sake of making a connection. It's, you know, I actually genuinely want to maintain this relationship because this is a person that I could see myself either being friends with or in business with or learning from. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just some, you know, what can I get from them if I maintain this relationship? That's not what it's about.
Yeah, the minute you know, especially for me, like when I meet somebody and I'm just kind of feeling like they're just trying to get something from me, like yeah, I tend to walk away like mid conversation. You know, like that's when you hear like Squiggy was an asshole. Is usually when like somebody was just trying to get something from me and I realized it mid conversation, I just walk away.
Oh, it's the same way like the worst customers write like reviews on Yelp.
Oh,
Like, you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like
We all work in the service
It's just-
industry, so we all kind of have that same appeal where on like the people that come in and that complain about a million things that are out of your control, then go and write
Mhm.
on Yelp,
Mhm.
oh, Donovan was the worst server we've ever had. Or
Donovan,
yeah, like I was like, what can I do? That's not my fault.
My food was brought out
But
30 seconds later than I would prefer.
Yeah, exactly.
but you know what happens? Like you'll get somebody like that, right? That goes, man, Squiggy was a real asshole, or person or Sarah was a real asshole, whatever. But then you have like the 50 other people that go, no, they're fucking not. What the did you do to them? You know what I mean? So you have like people that will inherently stick up for you.
Mhm.
So when that one person that's just a genuine asshole comes up, they just get swallowed and spit out.
I feel I feel like we didn't point this out really quick. Side note, for our listeners, I think we kind of spoiled a surprise, but Ron Williams will be on our podcast, just for those that don't know who that is.
I
We
didn't
just
spoil
kinda-
it. I
yeah.
meant to put it out there.
Okay.
It's sneak preview.
Right.
But no, you're totally right. I mean, if I ever heard anyone talk bad about y'all, I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I went to the gummy tent with Sarah at Welcome to Rockville in
Yeah.
a chicken suit, and we had a phenomenal time.
Exactly.
But
Seeing how giddy she was, but like behind the music experience tent, how giddy she was to get into that chicken suit was the funniest
Yeah.
thing to me.
Watching it inflate.
I know.
Unreal.
She was so excited, and it was the best thing to watch because you just could tell that she was genuinely just wanted to go out there in a chicken suit and just have the time of her life.
Well, listen, I've been in a cow suit, and that enthusiasm is not natural. You have to really be enthusiastic about what you're doing. So, like, I definitely think that the passion is so visible through y'all. Like, it's so obvious how much you guys care about it and how much you want it to work, which I definitely think is like one of the main reasons it's succeeded. Because if someone's going to pitch this idea to you and they've got this little twinkle in their eye and they're like so excited about it, how are you going to say no? Like, you want to do anything to like help those people along. And like, I feel like we've kind of like grown up in front of you, even though like that
In a
short
short
like
year.
life,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like you've definitely been a monumental person for us.
I learned
But
so much in
even-
just
yeah.
that. Too.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, but even just like getting to know those, like you never know like what person changes your life, like what person is gonna be that person that believes in you and that wants to like bring that idea to life with you. And I just think it's really awesome, like how you handle all your clients and little annoying people like us and like little kids with sticky fingers who want to touch a nice guitar. Like it's just the passion behind it that definitely makes it like so special.
Yeah, your
Thank
passion
you.
for the music experience radiates through that tent.
Yeah.
Like
Radiates. Great word.
it really does though. Tell me it was not like the energy in there was
Yeah.
not just pure passion and just
Yeah.
like everybody was so happy to be there. Like I'll never forget going to that
No.
tent. I hope to see it at more festivals in the future.
Exactly.
Well, it means a lot that you guys feel that way, and you know, if I can even be a little tiny bit of inspiration, then I'll take it.
You're at
Yeah.
least that much.
You know, I'll tell you another thing that you guys might want to reach out to Sarah. Sarah doesn't do a lot of interviews, but like if you guys can get her, right? If you guys can get her, and she's actually right over there, so I'm putting her on the spot a little bit, but she doesn't do a lot of interviews.
Sarah, I know
She
you're
doesn't do a
listening.
lot, but she gets I don't want to say overshadowed because she really kind of doesn't like the spotlight,
I see shadows.
but I mean, she's been there since the absolute very beginning. The student experience is her thing. Like she was the one that kind of brought it to life, and uh, she's got an interesting story, man. And she's got kind of a real emotional story, man, about her upbringing, how she came into managing bands, and she's got a much harder story than I do. So I don't know. I'm kind of putting her on the spot. So like maybe if you guys hit her up, she'll say yay or nay. But and honestly, I think it's kind of cool from a female's perspective because I'm the nice guy. Like most people think I'm like the bad cop. That I'm like, dude, I'm the good cop, man. Sarah's the bad cop. Like
Deal with her.
like like Sarah's the ruthless one, man. I'm the unicorn, man. I'm the nice one that goes out and goes like, hey, look at me, whatever. But Sarah's the one that fucking puts everybody in line. So
I feel like I'm very
While she's wearing a chicken suit. Exactly.
I feel like I'm very much
Get you a girl that can do
both.
both.
I can
So-
be Sarah and I can be Squiggy, but I can never be both at the same time.
Yeah. So case in point, right? If I would have said, Sarah, hey, I need you to get into a chicken suit, she'd have literally told me to go fucking shit in my hand and clap. Right? That's what she would have told me.
Good one.
That is a good
Right?
one.
But because somebody fucking else asked her, right? Or she came up with it on her own, she fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Right? I was scratching my head the whole time. I'm like, she's so fucking happy in there. Like if I'd have asked her to do that, she'd have fucking chopped my head off, But what?
So wanting to get people involved is also
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm putting her on the spot. Hit her up.
We
We
will.
definitely
We'll
will.
move the spot to the side and we'll put her on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, listen, guys, I'm really super stoked that you guys are able to get some stuff out of the music experience. It was definitely built to be that way, man. And I love you guys so much for taking the interest in the music experience. And I'm super humbled, man, by everything you guys said, man. It means a lot to me.
Please be on the lookout for our next podcast, Date to be Determined. We are so excited to sit down and chat with Ron Williams, the owner of Ron's Guitar Gallery. He hand paints custom guitars for all kinds of people, such as soccer superstar Messi. He donates to many different charities, festivals, and films as well. It's going to be an absolute blast, and Ron is one hell of a guy.
See you next time.
Stay safe out there. No, but it feels
Implying
weird.
there's danger? I think Donovan should go first. It sounds very scary coming out of Donovan's mouth. Are you ready?
Okay.
Action.
See you next time.
Stay safe out there.
Because Donovan's out there.